Thank you for taking time out today to join our webinar on Nurture for Retention and Expansion. I'm Julia Spano and I lead field marketing for Oracle CX in the Americas and will be moderating today's webinar. We have some really great content and speakers with us. This webinar is part of a CX marketing series designed to dive deep into topics that marketing, sales, and service professionals care about and provide expert advice along the way. Let's dive into today's topic. Nurture and expand key accounts, Oracle CX Marketing, Cisco, and PathFactory. It is my pleasure to introduce Joanne Tillman, Partner, Omnichannel Strategy Lead at Cisco, Jean Quinn, Senior Manager, Digital and Omnichannel Experience at Cisco, and Nick Edward, Co-founder and Chief Product Officer at PathFactory. They will be joined by Jennifer Wagner, our B2B marketing subject matter expert, from the product marketing team at Oracle CX. Over to you, Jennifer.
Thanks, Julia. Welcome, Joanne, Jean, and Nick. Thanks so much for joining me today. Our audience is really in for a treat given the depth of experience on this panel and the amazing innovations you're bringing to marketing. It's so great to be here with you all. So before we jump in, can you each share a quick overview of your background in marketing? Joanne, let's start with you.
Yeah, thanks, Jennifer. As was mentioned, I'm the Partner Omnichannel Strategy Lead at Cisco. My primary role and focus is the strategy behind how we market to our partners from a channel and tool perspective. Prior to this, I was an Eloqua consultant. I've been using the tool for over 10 years, and before that, a demand generation manager. So lots of time on the client and consulting side gives me a pretty broad background and expertise, and really excited to be here.
Great. Jean, how about you?
Hi, everybody. I'm Jean Quinn. I'm also in global partner marketing along with Joanne. I've been at Cisco for, oh my gosh, 21 years, which is shocking to me when I think about it. And at Cisco, I've been doing a whole bunch of things over that past couple of decades, mostly marketing, start to finish, small business marketing, partner marketing, and a lot of it in the recent decade or so has been really focusing on how we make our partners more effective, marketing to, with, and through them in terms of digital marketing perspective. So using the entire marketing tech stack that we have to make sure that we're enabling them.
Perfect. And Nick?
Good morning, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Nick Edward. I'm co-founder and chief product officer here at PathFactory, the award-winning intelligent content platform. I spend a lot of my time talking to our 200 leading enterprise and mid-market B2B customers, companies like Cisco, indeed Oracle, ADP, Thomson Reuters, etc. And what we're doing with them is really helping them deliver a better experience with content for their customers, so they can increase content engagement, accelerate buyer journeys, and mint an entire new class of data, all of which you're going to hear about in a tick.
This is great. Joanne and Jean, you both had extensive careers at Cisco, and as most of us know, Cisco is a global leader in IT and has a variety of business groups. Can you tell us what the Global Partner Marketing Group does at Cisco?
Yeah, so partner marketing is responsible for, as I said, marketing with, through, and to our 60,000 plus partner companies that are responsible for about 85% of Cisco's revenue. And they're varied in all shapes and sizes, and they have all different motions with us. And we're responsible for making sure that we're making them as effective as possible. And so we've been using Eloqua along with many other platforms like PathFactory in our tech stack to do that.
And how long has Cisco been an Oracle customer overall?
Yeah, so 6 years, more than 6 years for Cisco overall. And then we've been using Eloqua for more than 4 years here in partner marketing.
And we don't mind sharing that this year Cisco was awarded a marquee, the Thinker Award for Best Innovation in Marketing. Congratulations again to you and your team. And it's no surprise that you partnered with PathFactory, who's also a strategic partner for Oracle. This year, they received a marquee award, Visionary CX, ISV Partner of the Year. Congratulations, Nick, to you and your team as well.
Thanks, Jennifer. We're pretty chuffed about it, particularly as it wasn't even for this, actually, as well. Work with another customer. Maybe that's the subject of another webinar down the line.
Absolutely. When we heard your story, we were really impressed with how you innovated around a product really kind of requires great vision and strategy, which Cisco is known for. But even with such an astute marketing team like yours, the right product solution would be critical to see the idea through to fruition. I wonder what made you select Oracle to address your marketing challenges. Can you give us insights on what drove your decision?
Yeah, so one of the major things is the flexible data model. It's our partner group. We've got a lot of information on them. So with the custom objects, it just makes it really helpful in the way that we can structure the data, get the insights, and really doing the targeting and the segmentation that we need. It very easily integrates with lots of the other tools that we use. And it feels like every time we bring a new tool on, there's already an out of the box integration that exists for Eloqua, or it's very simple to set up. So that's very helpful for us as well. We've got fairly complex campaign flows. So that really helps us out, easy management. And we do have high volume. So the ability to access user security controls and campaign workflows just really helps to make sure that we're in compliance when we're using dozens of support folks to help us get everything out the door.
That's a perfect use case for Eloqua. Before we go further into your story, I wanted to just pause and take a second to have our audience answer a quick poll question. Our poll question is, do you currently have a customer marketing nurture strategy in place? One to retain and expand within your current customers? Please take a minute to enter your response, actually a second. We're just going to give you guys maybe 10 seconds and then we'll share the results. There we go. All right. Can we share the results of the poll for us? Oh, perfect. It looks like we've got some advanced folks here, but a really good cross section of levels here in terms of already maintaining a strategy as such or in those early stages. That's awesome. All right. So everyone should be able to benefit from really the jewels that come out of the story. With that, I think the stage is set for what everyone's been waiting for, to really talk about how Cisco implemented and executed their partner marketing strategy with Eloqua and PathFactory. Marketers are often talking about lead gen and how to get net new business, but it's widely known that the cost of acquiring new customers can be 7 times that of gaining a sale for an existing customer. But it's often overlooked having that targeted strategy to retain and expand the customers you already have. What made Cisco want to focus on customer marketing, or in your case, partner marketing? And why was this important for your business in particular?
It's a great question. So from our perspective, we really look at our partners as our customers. You know, there's a whole bunch of other organizations within Cisco who are definitely focused on customer marketing of all shapes and sizes. They're also using Eloqua and PathFactory, by the way. And in our case, it really was about enabling our partners to be more successful. As I said before, 60,000 plus companies. They represent 85+% of Cisco's revenue, and they come in all shapes and sizes. We've got partners who are selling our products, installing our products, supporting our products. Some partners don't sell anything and they're making products that work with our products. Some partners are educating our partners or even Cisco on how to sell and support our products more effectively. So it's a really complex ecosystem, and we needed to nurture them. We needed to enable them, and we needed to do it in a targeted and strategic way. So when we set up Eloqua, 4 years or so ago, it was very much about, we need to treat these partners like they're an extension of Cisco, because they very much are. We need to treat them like we know them. We need to treat them and enable them and support them in a way that is most effective for them, given the role that they're playing with Cisco or the job that they're doing within that partner. So really setting up our Eloqua solution so that it was able to target based on role or the various personas that we've got, the various motions, their bookings data, their marketing maturity, the stage in the support strategy that they have with Cisco. Being able to do all those things was a perfect role for Eloqua. And from a partner marketing standpoint, we were doing a couple of things. We're looking after, as I said, marketing to them. hey partners, we've got something new for you to take advantage of. We have a webinar we need you to sign up for, or a new program we need you to enroll in, or an action we need you to take to keep your partnership new and fresh or current. But in many cases, we're also enabling the marketers at our partners too. So helping them execute demand generation campaigns on our behalf in collaboration with what they're already doing with some of the other vendors that they have in their portfolio. So making sure that we're able to help the company drive demand, but also helping our partners drive demand as well. And with that comes an awful lot of content that we have to share. And Joanne, maybe you want to talk a little bit more about the content strategy and how we've been able to deliver that with Eloqua as well as Path Factory.
Yeah, definitely. So, we're Cisco. We've got websites. We've got multiple tools, multiple platforms. There's information that's critical to help our partners succeed, and it just belongs and lives in different places on our various domains. And so, one of the things that we wanted to try to do was really look for a way to curate all that content together and focus it by the different personas. We had partners telling us, great information, but how do I know exactly where to go? How do I know exactly what's most relevant, what's timely right now? We knew more email wasn't the answer. Pushing email out is not going to solve the problem from an information standpoint or communication standpoint. So we really had to think about what's a different way that we could approach this. And we also didn't want to double publish because there's login based sales training platforms and enablement platforms, and that's where the content really should live. There's blogs that belong with the other blogs on our website. So we wanted a way to pull it all together for a singular experience that was curated by these different audiences, by persona, by partner type, but make sure that it was in a way that was efficient and optimized so we weren't duplicating anything from a content management perspective.
Wow, you mentioned a really interesting point that given the unique nature of your partner relationships, that they had an impact on your revenue, they had an impact on your brand, that you really need to treat them essentially as customers. And the challenge of ensuring easy access to information that customers need is really a difficult problem to solve for. I understand that you also set out to address the need to share content from a quite sizable group of internal stakeholders. How did you address this?
Yeah, that's exactly right. We've got organizations all over the company here, hundreds of them, in fact, who have something that they need to share with our partners so that we can all be more effective. And as I mentioned before, the ecosystem of partners that we have is pretty broad. So that can vary. In some cases, it's things that are enabling the sellers at our partners to be more effective, training content, launch content, price updates. In some cases, it's solution information where our solution partners, our IHVs, our ISVs, who are building things that work with our products, we need to do some matchmaking and provide solution information to the resellers. In some cases, it's the marketers that are partners who need to understand what new marketing campaigns or demand generation services we have for them. And as Joanne said, with all of these stakeholders and all of this content at various phases of the life cycle, and all of the places that we currently have content living, as it should, trying to aggregate that in one place, a one-stop shop, was not going to work. We're too big, we're too complicated. And we had been using, to Joanne's point, email to try to target and segment our audiences and drive action, but it was starting to get overwhelming. And we're hearing from our partners, less is more, please make it simpler. You're sending us too many emails. So really, focusing the emails that we were sending in a targeted way, but finding a solution that could really solve our content problem and be a solution for our stakeholders too, because we couldn't just say, nope, you can't send an email for this really important piece of content. But if we send an email for every single piece of content that we needed to share, we'd be bombarding our partners, and that's not effective either. So enter Path Factory and the news hubs that we've stood up, and thank you, Nick. Joanne, maybe you want to talk some more about that.
Yeah, definitely. So, in regards to the internal stakeholders, we've got over 100 submitters of content. We've processed thousands of pieces of content through these hubs. We're regularly rotating information in. It only stays in there for about 45 days. And so it really just, we were able to optimize the whole process so that we could take in content from all of our different internal stakeholders and make sure that it was aligned and presented by the different audiences. And then we've got dedicated audience managers who carefully curating that content, making sure it's relevant for each one of for the audiences, whether it's the persona or if it's distributors or other partner types. And then we've actually even been able to leverage these for some internal awareness as well. So our internal account managers can go and see what's the information we're communicating to our partner sellers, what's the information we're communicating out to executives to help them stay informed as well. And then kind of like the overall benefit of all of this is just massive amounts of data that we get both from Eloqua and from Path Factory, and the insights that we're able to start to get from all of that. So we get them there, we get them engaged, and then we can really learn from that engagement, target better, and make better decisions on the kind of content that's going in there and continue to optimize.
So up to this point, you identified that opportunity to strengthen the partner relationships and have that vision to achieve this by making key information more accessible. Specifically, how did you guys set up to create this change? What did you put in place to actually, technology-wise, process-wise, to affect that change?
Yeah, so we worked on a lot of different channel activation to drive awareness both internally and externally. Social promotion, promoting it on digital, on our web, did email promotion just to let partners know that these were available, and a lot of internal meetings, presenting to our account managers, letting them know what these are, what the value is, and the kind of the benefit of communicating that out to their partners. I mean, it was part of an overall shift when it's a process we're still going through over the last year to move from that push to a pull strategy. I mean, ultimately, our desired state is for partners to bookmark these news hubs, whichever one is relevant for them based on their role within the organization, subscribe to see if there's one or two that they're interested in, and we just send the reminders to go see what's new out there. We really want them to come back. So it's not about pushing out this message, it's about bringing them in so that they can engage with what's the latest news and resources and discounts and things that I need to be aware of. We were able to store inside of Eloqua in custom objects all of that content engagement information, which is really great. We're able to use that for additional targeting segmentation purposes. And then ultimately, as I said before, all that data is coming out and we're able to blend that with what's coming from Path Factory, what's coming from Eloqua, and what we have in our own partner database, and get some really amazing insights on all that activity that's happening.
The other thing I'll say too is just really quickly, and I know Nick's going to go into this, it's more, these news hubs for us are more than just sort of a content container. The AI that's built into this has really been helping with the engagement too. You know, it's making sure that partners can binge on the content that's most effective for them. They can get fed content that's new. So the news hubs really do act as news hubs. They look like there's new content in there all the time, and it's based on what they're interested in, and it's based on what's popular. And that's been a huge value as we've been setting up these news hubs.
So it sounds like you innovated around the process, and it also included around marketing automation and machine learning. Let's move over to talk about why adding Path Factory specifically and how it did contribute to Cisco's partner solution for that integrated suite of digital services you were after to build. We know the stakes were high, and the bets were that you guys wanted to really do a great job, and you had a really nice choice of Path Factory pulling them in to help you make this happen. Nick, can you tell us how you worked with Cisco to implement this new hub?
For sure. I mean, well, working with Gene and Joanne and team was easy, really, because they understood at its core the foundations were laid, right? If we can increase content engagement, if we can get our partners to engage with more content, they're going to be happier, better educated partners, and therefore more productive. And that principle actually holds true across all of B2B marketing in general, right? If we can increase in content engagement, not just with a partner, but with a customer or even a prospect or buyer, we're going to see kind of acceleration of their education, acceleration of the journeys that they're on. So what we did really was to give Cisco a way to easily remove friction and increase digital engagement, track that engagement per visitor, rolling that up to an account level too. And then, as Joanne mentioned, making that enormously actionable by pushing that back into an Eloqua CDO where it can be used for segmentation, adding them to the right nurture, etc. So in the first instance, Cisco created very easily 4 initial individual persona-specific partner update news hubs. And they did that by aggregating multiple content types and sources into a single kind of easy to navigate hub. Think Netflix home screen. You can see the image on the screen, right? What's really important about this is not new content per se. Joanne mentioned this already. We're using content that's already been published somewhere on Cisco's digital footprint. But it's a really heavy lift for me as a partner to go and find that. So how do we make it easy for them? How do we remove the friction for them by allowing them to aggregate it into a single destination? Now, as you mentioned, we are using machine learning then to optimize that experience for the visitors based on previous engagement. And really importantly too, allowing them to self-direct their own experiences. This I think gets overlooked a lot, but you can see here on the screenshot, there are tags, both manually curated and applied tags and AI generated tags. So that if I'm a partner, I can very easily filter this experience to be relevant to me over and above the recommendations that we're really showing them there and then. We'll talk about the results in a tick, but they speak for themselves. So we are collecting this very rich engagement data, not just did Bob click on the Eloqua email, for example, but what did he do in the hub? Because I think one thing we've all realized over the last couple of years is not all clicks are created equal, right? Best to kind of click is a hypothesis. Is Bob interested in this? Well, let's see how he actually engages with the content. So seeing that and pushing that back into the CDO where it becomes actionable is enormously helpful. I guess at its core, though, what we're really trying to do here is to deliver the right content to the right person at the right time. And that's been a cliche in B2B marketing for all the time I've been involved with it, which is going on 10 years or so now. But we're actually delivering on that now.
Awesome. Joanne, with this new strategy in place and the process is clearly defined, what did it then take you to get up and running?
Yeah, so talking about just, and overall the steps leading up to Path Factory implementation, before we started on the Partner News Hub specifically, we had been testing the concept of, these curated content experiences. Initially, it was delivered through landing pages and emails using Eloqua CDOs. And it was May 2018 is when we decided to pilot with Path Factory as part of a campaign to see if we could offer a more dynamic experience and get the insight that we needed with all the metrics that were coming out of it. So it only took 4 weeks from that initial license procurement to get that first campaign off the ground, and then we continued throughout 2019 to test with other key campaigns, building up to kind of the ultimate kind of place that we've gotten to with the Partner News Hubs, where it's a concept that had been talked about for a very long time. We've been testing it in different campaigns and formats, and then ultimately, so even though it had been a topical conversation for quite a long time, probably the whole initial setup was about 4 months. We've got, right now we started with 4, and now we've got 8 different persona. We've got 8 different Partner News Hubs. We've got dedicated audience managers. We've got agencies on the front and the back side of things. So definitely as the submitters have grown, the content's grown, the number of news hubs have grown, we've kind of expanded and optimized, but we had a big kind of focus to get everything set up in the most scalable way towards the front. And all of the testing that we did with those early campaigns when we first started out with Path Factory really helped lay that groundwork.
Wow, that's an incredible achievement in such a short time frame. So in May, you decided to pilot with Path Factory as part of this campaign. Nick, can you share with us what it took to implement Path Factory in that 4-week time period that Joanne spoke about, and how you worked with Cisco to make this happen?
For sure. So the good news is, from our perspective, was that obviously there was already an existing system and process integration in place with Eloqua at the core before we got involved, right? As Joan mentioned, they were utilizing CDOs to store video consumption and platform adoption behavior. So that was there, and we've got an out of the box, very strong pre-built integration with Eloqua. So that was very straightforward. Setting Power Factory up itself is almost the flick of a switch, not quite that, but it's pretty easy to get up and running. And given the fact that the team had already done so much thinking around the logic and the concept, that's really pretty straightforward. Because we're content source and type agnostic, as I already mentioned, we allow them to create kind of links between content that didn't necessarily exist or weren't obvious. And obviously combining that with the behavioral insights, what we kind of call content intelligence, allowed us to actually figure out what was working really quickly. So this wasn't just standing up in 4 weeks, it was then testing and optimizing on an ongoing basis. Hence the launch of 5 more kind of hubs in short order. And as I understand it, then it becomes a traffic issue, right? So using Eloqua to drive traffic to the hub and running complementary personalized promotions on Cisco.com, social media campaigns to drive traffic, to drive the engagement, to then you see the data to optimize, iterate, and optimize. So 4 weeks is a hell of an achievement for anything in B2B marketing, if we're honest these days. So my hats off to Jean and Joanne for executing so super efficiently.
This was a very ambitious and impressive approach. But in the end, we know success is always measured by the results. How are you guys tracking the results of this program?
Yeah, so we've seen an increase in subscribers. Once we get them to the news hubs, the performance metrics are really great. There's a few different metrics that we look at compared to when they get sent one email with one piece of content, or we send them to the news hub and we're able to get them engaging in multiple pieces in content. We actually saw a reduction in the overall number of email sends campaigns year over year. And then we've just seen an overall increase in engagement scores. We also, when you compare the news hub engagement versus one-off emails, there's some really great metrics and things that we've seen there as well. And we've also leveraged both Eloqua and Path Factory for a number of other programs as a result. So our Unified Launch Hub, our Unified Launch programs, and we've got multiple different learning paths that we do for our partner marketers.
I think that Cisco's successful execution of this strategy really solidifies its place as a top leader in marketing innovation. Nick, based on your experience working with the Cisco team, what kind of advice would you give to marketers to achieve similar results?
I think at the heart of Joanne and Jean's undoubted success, and you can see it on the screen here, is that they put themselves in the shoes of their audience, their partners, and thinking, is this a good experience? How do we make it easier? And where's the friction? And I don't think we do that enough in B2B marketing, if I'm honest. I mean, those of you that are on the call, think like, are you actually ever the recipients of your own marketing? Have you gone through a nurture? Is 10 a.m. kind of every other Thursday a good time to receive, for 10,000 people to receive an email? That is not how people naturally consume content, right? If you're anything like me, having just binge watched The Crown season 4, shock horror. I'm sure you're surprised by that, obviously hearing my accent. In kind of 2 sittings.
You're not the only one.
Yeah, there you go. It's just a drama, Gene. It's the B2B buyers will and partners and customers, they're going to engage with content in exactly the same way. So I think first and foremost, we need to put ourselves in the shoes of our audience to think, what is it that we want to achieve? How easy is it for them? Where's the friction? And therefore, how do we remove that? The second thing is using the data. We don't suffer in B2B from a lack of data these days. What we still struggle with is deriving insight from it and then making it actionable. And I think Power Factory Eloqua integration made that super strong. But credit also to Jean and Joanne for knowing how they were going to use the data from the off, although I know we've iterated on that and we've found out a whole ton of things that maybe we weren't even expecting to when we went into this. So using things like quality of engagement factors to look at engagement scoring or lead scoring, better segmenting audience based on interest, and also understanding content performance. What content's really working, right? historically, we've really looked at content engagement as with very binary data points, kind of things like clicks and visits and form fills. And they tell us things about quantity. They don't tell us anything about quality of engagement, or indeed necessarily what the content's about. So I think the final area, kind of summing that up, is being clear on what you want to achieve and how you're going to track the results, and then being able to look at that and using the data to iterate and optimize on that. As we'll hear in a tick, we're never done in B2B marketing, right? We've just done something, and we're going to go beyond to the next stage. So our goal next to be is, how do we increase that 15% increase in highly engaged partners to 25%, etc. We can use data to do that.
Awesome. So that is a segue into my next question about what's next. How are you planning to build on what you already have in place? Both on the Cisco side and the Path Factory side.
Yeah, so as Joanne mentioned, we've now got 8 hubs in place. We're starting to look at regional hubs too in different languages for our stakeholders around the world and our partners who don't natively speak English. Many of them, that's the case. We also need to do more drive to. So we're wanting to get more eyeballs into these news hubs and into this content. And then, as Nick said, really understanding even better what this means to the partners in terms of are we able to continue to grow the richness of their engagement with us, and then can we continue to optimize that content that they're consuming so that we're getting less noise out of the system and more signal that's more helpful for them in terms of their day-to-day business with us. The other thing that we're doing is we're taking the Eloqua plus Path Factory model and expanding it to a couple of different things. So Joanne mentioned a few. We use it for our unified launch efforts. So news hubs is one thing, but we do an awful lot of launches here at Cisco, really using Path Factory hubs as an aggregator for, hey, partners, we have a lot of things for you to pay attention to. We're launching a lot of different things with a lot of different siloed organizations at times. Let's bring it all together in an experience that we can curate for you to make it most effective. We're also using it for learning paths, where we're aggregating marketing training content for the marketers at our partners and helping them consume digital marketing content about how to do social media better, how to do marketing automation better, how to do omni-channel marketing better, in a way that we can watch what they're doing and watch their pathing and look at that content consumption as well. And then the next thing that we're really excited about is a little plug here, Nick. We're using Path Factory's virtual event experience platform to take all of those events that we used to have that were physical and are now digital, and making it a really robust experience where we've got streaming video, whether it's Zoom or in our case WebEx or VOD, and surrounding it with content engagement, relevant content as it relates to an event, chat, polls, Q&As, in a really sort of turnkey automated way. So another sort of aggregation mechanism that Path Factory's got, where we can be plugging in all the content and really delivering a rich event experience for our partners. We're really excited about that.
Awesome. Nick, is there anything that you guys are building on?
Yeah, we're really excited about what Cisco's doing on the virtual event side of things, because at its core, I think I'm sure some of you do it now. Everyone's double dipping, right? When they're on events. And the whole principle of our virtual event solution is how do we get you to double dip on our content, right? Yes, be listening to me now, but also be reading something at the same time. But the core thing, the thing that we've been working really hard on is what we call content intelligence. And that really is kind of underpinned by 2 big data sets. One is visitor engagement with content. And we've been expanding that so that we can track engagement, not just in the hub, but also what's happening on cisco.com. We'll come back to that in a tick, it's really important. And the second thing is we've been turning content into structured data. How do we look at all the content that's in the hub and understand the relationships between the content better than we've ever been able to do before? And also understand actually what is each asset about. And this allows us to create things like topics of interest profiles for visitors and individual visitors and at the account. And now we're combining those 2 data sets to really supercharge our AI, to enable us to personalize the experience based not just on what they're doing here and now or did last time they were in the hub, but what are they doing? What did they do last week on Cisco.com? What are they interested in? And really standing up a you are what you eat model for B2B. And when you think about it, that's how B2C has been behaving for quite a long time, right? That's exactly how Netflix behaves with me. In B2B, we haven't done that. We've been far more focused on things like firmographic data as opposed to actually what are people interested in? What are they consuming? How do I feed them more relevant content? And so that's at the heart of certainly everything we've been doing, and we're really excited to put that in Cisco's hands too.
Excellent. Well, we're certainly looking forward to hearing the results of your plans and any new marketing innovations that you create along the way. This is definitely an amazing group of minds working together. Before we move into the Q&A, I just wanted to take a moment to quickly review what we discussed today and how it worked. Cisco unified messaging across a multitude of different audiences, and they gained detailed engagement measurement and insights. And as a result, they were able to deliver increased value to their partners, and they shifted that partner mindset and processes. This was all implemented in a 4-month time frame. This is a great story that I think any marketer can find inspiration in. Joanne, Gina, Nick, thank you all so much for joining me today and talking about how Cisco used Eloqua and Path Factory for their nurture and expansion strategy.